Hello and welcome back for 1945 in the other side of the hill. So between the last turn and here is the New Year phase. So a couple of things that have happened. I've returned all of my, sort of used generals or activated generals. Returned all of them to availability. The good news is I'm down to 29 generals total, so I no longer have to count. I just activate all the available generals. The other thing is that you flip over all of the events, combat and strategic events, and you actually implement the ones with this blue text. These happen even if they didn't happen during the turn. So I got to go through each of these. So Hungary defects. If Ukraine is controlled by the Allies, Ukraine is not controlled by the Allies. Ukraine is not disputed, so that one actually won't actually happen. Fanaticism value goes up by 1. That's going to come back, so we'll do that. So fanaticism is now up to an 8. If the status of Italy is occupation, and I believe it is, right? Yes, the status of Italy is occupation. If both areas 22 and 23 are controlled by the Axis, that's this and this. They're not. Apply occupation of Italy. I wonder if I can actually remove this card because Italy has already surrendered. Oh, actually, yeah. If the status of Italy's occupation, I get rid of this card. So I get rid of that card. Royal coup in Romania. If Black Sea is controlled by the Allies or not disputed. I think the Black Sea is disputed. Yeah, in fact, I've kind of screwed up my marking, or I've been lax in terms of my marking here. That's a Western ally, sorry. So this should be disputed clearly. So it is, the Black Sea is not disputed. Reduce 1 German army in the Black Sea. Dum dum dum. That's so bad. I don't know if that guy goes away. I'm gonna leave him there for now. That one can recur, it looks like. Ultra, roll 1 Western die. And I got a hit. Strategic warfare value -1. Can't go down any further. Yay. So at least that doesn't happen. And finally, coup attempt. If no areas in France, Belgium, or Holland are disputed, the anti-Nazi conspirators attempt to assassinate Hitler and stage a coup. So let us see what happens when there is a coup attempt on Adolf Hitler here. Oops, blew past that. When the event Black Orchestra. I think I'm going to ignore this actually. The reason I say that is because it says you use Black Orchestra cards, but you don't use Black Orchestra cards in the solo game. Well, it seems like I screwed up, and I should have actually been using these Black Orchestra cards. It's a pretty big screw up, I'm going to say, at this point. Here's what should have been happening all along, is when I roll for generals being dismissed, if I roll the number equal to the number, so right, if his number here is a 2, if I roll a 2, then I'm supposed to put a dissident marker on that general. And then that general would stay in the game with this dissident marker. And then the next time they're removed, um, then they would, I would draw a black orchestra. They would be removed, and I would draw a black orchestra card. You remove agenda cards when you're playing solo, not black orchestra cards. So I completely screwed that up, kind of mistook those two things. So, I do have one dissident, so I know that I should have at least one black orchestra card. And it's going to be very hard to kind of recover from this because some of these generals probably should still be back in the game. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of roll for, roll for about half of them. Just because I feel like, just to see how many of these black orchestra cards I might have. So I'm going to I don't want to roll for all of them because, some of them shouldn't have been removed, and I'm just going to live with the fact that I removed them. But any of them that I roll equal to here, I'm going to pull up black orchestra cards. So this is for the top row. So I'm not drawing any black orchestra cards for those guys. Not for these guys either. And not for these guys either. So I'm just going to live with the idea that I have one black orchestra card because I have the one dissident general who would have definitely sort of gotten a card when he was dismissed. Sorry for that mistake. Pretty big mistake. I probably would have more generals left as part of the thing, part of the point, and I didn't realize that. I'm sure that happened. So to resolve the coup attempt, basically I'm going to shuffle all these, but I only have one. Reveal them one by one. Okay, so von Stauffenberg. Klausner takes a briefcase with 2 bombs. When he saw the explosion, he thought that he was shot. Okay, so it's got a +1. So I'm going to add +1 to the coup value. Now I just got to find out where the coup value is tracked. Yeah, sorry. You don't track it. You just track it in your head. So that card gives me a +1. So, and there's nothing else. And so then if the coup value is higher than the fanaticism value, there would be a coup, but that is not the case. So there's no coup attempt. The coup value is equal or lower than the fanaticism value, and value is higher than 5. That is not the case. It's a failed coup. There is no effect. Now, what's interesting, I don't know if this card gets discarded because that coup attempt can happen again. So I'm going to kind of, it doesn't say that you discard those cards. So I rather wonder if there's if that's, that just kind of sticks around, and the odds of a coup get higher and higher and higher every turn. So anyway, so I've done all the strategic events that I needed to do now. So I'm going to it's a political directive for me. I would love to play that, but man, I just don't have enough points anymore. All right. So with that, we are into winter of 1945. So the bombing of Germany, I have -2 replacements and +1 on the arrest track, or on the on unrest. So, oh yeah. Wow. Okay, so I'm gonna have to lose 2 replacements there, and yeah. Ooh boy. Okay. German replacements. Well, I don't have a lot of replacements to place. I think I've got to throw a stopgap army into there just to hope. Luftwaffe replacements. Let's there's like so little point to most of these air tracks anymore. So let's just focus on defending Germany, I think, and um, give myself at least some chance on the strategic warfare track. No satellite replacements, so production table, nothing has changed there. So let's see. I think I need to focus on Wehrmacht replacements here. 1, 2, 3. I can have 8. 6, 8. No, I can have. Yeah, let's just do that. 6. Oh no, let's just do that. So 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11. 11 gets me to there. Let me just check and see if there's any production directives I'm going to want to sort of do here. Okay, so slight change here. We are going to put our Wehrmacht replacements here, and we're going to add, I have 2 in production directives. And the reason for that is that I'm going to play for my production directive this Volkssturm card, which allows me to move the Wehrmacht replacement marker 2 boxes to the right. So I can move him to there for this turn. I am political directives. I'm just going to use bribing generals. Let's see, somewhere over here, probably right there. So that's going to drive my unrest down by 1. And that gets returned. Unlike that. No military directive, obviously. So strategic warfare. So the allies get 5 dice, and I get 1 gray die. Right? Yeah, 1 gray die. So strategic. Oops. So I've got to deal with a strategic event. They have 3 hits, and I have 1 hit. So strategic event. Let's just do that first. Make sure to shuffle those 2 decks. Air naval control in Germany goes down by 1. Boy, it is so hard to keep that in a decent place. So Western hits are greater than Axis hits. Wow. Okay. So I have to take 2 hits, and that's kind of my only options there. All right. Movement. I definitely think I need to do some movement here. So we are going to have to I think we're going to have to, sorry, I got to go back. So within fronts, I don't think I'm going to move anything within this front. Is that right? Yeah, I'm going to leave that. I can only move. Oh, I can't even move anybody between fronts. Oh, because of that result, because of that 8th Air Force, I can't, because all I could do is move a guy here. Wow. Okay, my armies are kind of locked in place now. Well, I think that this unit is kind of wasting its time down there at this point. So I'm going to move him to there. And then I can't even move. I don't even have any air unit factors to move. So I got nothing. I got nothing. So I'm just a punching bag at this point. And there's like almost nothing I can do. What I really need to do, frankly, and maybe I should have done this before, I got to fall back to where I'm only defending, where I'm defending fewer fronts. That is kind of the key, I think the key thing here. So hopefully this turn I'm going to take a bunch of retreats if I can. All right. Nobody is being questioned here. That's kind of weird. I can't believe I survived last turn with nobody being questioned. I don't know how that happened. I wonder if I made a mistake. I can't go back and fix it now. Doesn't seem like I would have made that mistake. I think, I don't know. Maybe I did make that mistake. Ugh. All right. No Axis offensive. So now we're onto the Western offensive. So, no, sorry. I don't draw that card yet. I haven't really looked at it. I was drawing for landings. And of course, landings don't happen in winter. So there is going to be no landing. So basically, the Allies are going to have 3 attacks. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we'll start here in Holland, where we are rolling, it's a river, we're rolling 2 white dice, and I can flip this card now. The Allies, strategic event, and 3 dice. All right, so strategic event is air naval control in the Germany box -1. Let me just see if there's any impact to that. I don't see anything that suggests that there's any effect when you like lose that, and it's already at 0. So I guess I just quote unquote get lucky. All right. So now let's see. We've got von Rundstedt, who, if I recall correctly, is pretty useless here because he's only good on attack. And I've got von Arnim. Let me get this straightened out. We'll come back and roll the combat. All right. Well, if I understand the rules correctly, I am going to be unable to nominate any leading generals here in the West because I can only nominate from these seniorities, and nobody in these seniorities is able to sort of do anything on the West front. They don't have those symbols. So I'm just, and von Arnim he adds if I rolled a tank result, but I'm not going to be rolling a tank result because there's no gray die or black die. All right. So I suffered a catastrophic mic failure without realizing it, and the rest of that episode had no sound. So let me kind of talk you through what happened so that you at least understand going into the next video and through the rest of the series where things stand. And I'm going to start with a couple of things that I realized in between that I've done wrong that I actually fixed kind of in that second half of the playthrough. The first is I actually drew a second Black Orchestra card because I realized Rommel is a dissident, and so when he was dismissed, I should have drawn another one of those. So I've got one of those again. The other thing I realized is that in these areas with only 1 German army, I should not have an AG head. You need 2 to have an AG head. And so I would not have had an AG head. Now I'll explain why I have an AG head here, even though that guy's there, but we'll get to that in a second. So that's basically where we ended up. The other thing I realized that I was doing wrong, or at least I think I realized I was doing wrong, is that I can appoint leading generals in combat even if their icons don't allow their combat effect to have an impact. And I kind of realized this because I was having a problem where I couldn't pick generals because I had generals with the wrong icons with higher seniority blocking things. So I kind of did a much closer read of the rules. This would be an example. For example, he's only good on attack. So I kind of did a closer reading of the rules, and I think the truth is that I can appoint a leading general if their combat icons don't match. It's just that their combat effect doesn't have any effect in that case. Okay, so let's talk about what happened then. So in Belgium and Holland, pretty much I suffered a defeat everywhere. Let's just be honest about this. And I'm pretty sure that I ended up having to reduce one of the armies, or I ended up reducing one of the armies, was so that to stop my retreat in the roar. And that's why I had an AG head, is because at the time of the combat I had 2 reduced armies here. So I'm down to 1, so he'll be questioned, and then I won't have an AG head here, probably when this is all over. In northern France, we suffered a loss, and I decided to take that loss by retreating back into southern France, trying to consolidate things and get to a point where I'm sort of defending on a much narrower front with more units. Italy was a no result, so that was good. But I'm sorry, it was a tie. But I did end up retreating to Munich, which got von Wittgenhof questioned. But at least we are still kind of holding on there. That's my one shot. It's one place that I get to roll a lot of dice now. Russia was a complete disaster. On top of like a lot of things, I drew, let's see. I didn't draw, sorry. In terms of combat cards, I ended up drawing Russian partisans, which actually eliminated the only army I had in the Black Sea. And I also drew the Soviet counterattack, and that ended up, I forget exactly where the Soviet counterattack, oh, yeah, I drew a Soviet counterattack, and that counterattack forced me to retreat. I think it was up here in the Baltic states. So lots of bad stuff going on. And then here I don't remember the exact result here. But in general, right now, what I've been doing is retreating. I've been trying to retreat to sort of not get, to save some forces. But now I'm backing up on these Festung spaces, and that's not going to last much longer. Belarus was a great disaster. We ended up retreating completely out of Belarus. We did manage to retreat only 1 space. Oops, I gotta fix that. Only 1 space here in Ukraine, which is where I have my largest concentration of armies. But I ended up, taking the retreat instead of reducing. I think I actually had to reduce an army here. If I recall correctly, I had one area where I had no choice but to reduce. Oh, actually, I remember up here, I ended up with a no retreat result. So I had to, this kind of was the way it was, and I had to eliminate all my armies up here in Poland because I got a no retreat result. And then finally down here, I literally had no armies in this combat. So the Russians just moved, but they didn't have a tremendous result. So I ended up just retreating into Odessa. So that's what happened on this turn. I basically am facing next turn with 1 million guys who are questioned, which is kind of good because I need to thin out some of these generals who can't help me because they're only good on attack anyway. So I'm hoping to get rid of some of them. But I apologize for the bad ending to this video, having to just come in and explain what happened rather than show it being played. But if you liked what there was of the video, it would be great if you could drop a like on it and keep the comments coming. The comments have been incredibly helpful. I think one of the things I like the channel being used for is when I play new games, I make a bunch of mistakes and figure stuff out, and people get to learn from that. And part of the way they get to learn from that is people correct me in the comments, and then I can apply that. They can see that in the comments, or I can apply that in future videos. So definitely never apologize for commenting on rules I'm getting wrong. I like that. So please keep that coming. And if you're enjoying the series, if you're enjoying the channel, it would be great if you could subscribe and hit the notification bell. All of that will really help the channel grow and help me produce more content. So with that rather anticlimactic ending and my apologies for the microphone disaster, I will end there. And we'll see you next time for hopefully a full video of a full turn on Agility Snips Gaming Table.